Hello world, Patricia O'Connor, Freedom Reba Darcy here. Time to stop all that sitting around and mupping. I still sound a little clogged up, but I am feeling much better. Thank you. And it is Saturday. Hello, Mr. Crow. It is Saturday, and today on the Bonsai Balcony, we're roaring back a little bit of vengeance. Came through here and watered everything a little while ago. Everything is budding out. I'm gonna do a little, not what our show's about, but do a little quick look, see how our bald cypress trees are looking. This guy got lots of carbon on it here just a few weeks ago. Suffering no ill health. It's putting out little sprouts everywhere. As is our Dawn Redwood. Oh, as is our white wisteria is getting ready to start producing. It blooms before it even comes out in leaves. So some of that hopefully is blooms. Beautiful day today. Alameda, California. Look at that sky. Golly, can you hold the phone a little still there, Patricia? Beautiful, nice looking day. Big weekend for us on the balcony. Tomorrow I go on a road trip with this guy, and we're going to get some more Japanese black pine grafts on it. So I am really looking, and unlike last time, we took it up there to overwinter in Auburn, California, and while instead of just picking it up when we were supposed to, we had some black pine grafts put on it, and one of those took. So this year we didn't overwinter it, but we are going to return trip to where we had that done and get more. And I think you can see the one that's doing good right there, and probably a couple of the ones that didn't take. I'm going to have a little powwow with Peter as to what, if anything, he could see that would cause our success or our failures over those. So maybe less exposure to Del Sol, maybe less exposure to Del Win for a little longer or something, which means, putting it down here. Whatever we have to do to improve our aftercare, I want to make sure that we get at least another good graft out of that guy. And so that's what's going on there. I'm really looking forward to getting that done and moving on to our next phase. Today, if you are new to bonsai, or you have been considering bonsai and hasn't, this is a wonderful time to get involved. And why do I say that? Because it's never been so important to have things going on in your life that will give you peace of mind and a little zen. That's exactly what I get from bonsai. And I would say there is absolutely no reason to not do bonsai. And some people might argue, they would go, not true, Pat. They're expensive. They take a long time. And they take up too much space. They take up a lot of space. To which I would say, en contraire, imaginary person, let me introduce you to Shohin. Look at that, would ya? That's a ponderosa pine. Now, the needles are short because I cut them. That's why the needles are short. I cut them that short. They were already sunburned, so that's my ready-made excuse for why I cut those needles. They were burned on the ends anyway, so I cut the burned part off and made them look shorter. But other than that, we bought this ponderosa and about 9 more pretty much like it, and paid around $60 for the whole lot of them to the door. We then wired them up and twisted them up like little circus balloons, and so they don't take up any space. This is a 2-year-old tree. It's true, it will take a couple of years for this tree to start showing bark. 10, if it were a Japanese black pine. I don't know exactly the time frame for ponderosa. I would assume it's probably about the same, but that's an assumption. That was an assumption. And here are some of the rest of those ponderosas. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 trees in an area of less than or at or around 2 feet. 2 feet. Those trees were less than $75 for all of them, plus a couple of more that go with them, because there was originally 10 of those. So that would, the argument, and those are 2-year-old trees. We're already starting to enjoy some of the exposed roots. We're already starting to enjoy some of the fat trunks. And we're already starting to see some of our branches come out and be suitable for wiring here in just a minute. Here on the balcony, early on, I decided to, whatever our limits was, I wanted to stretch them. So I started investing in big trees, early, big trees. But I also love the little trees, the wee trees. And this is our Shohin. A Shohin is in the scale of trees that are usually, I think, less than around 6 inches high or so. Mame would be a bean, and several of those would fit in the palm of your hand. The next size up from that is Shohin. There are many pluses to having a Shohin. This is a 2-year-old tree. We're already working on the roots. We're already working on the trunk and the motion in the trunk, and it's been wired. And as it grows, it will not take as many years for this tree to impress. The smaller they are, the faster you can get impressive proportions. It's not going to bark over necessarily any faster, although sometimes they do. Sometimes I hear that potting pines causes them to bark over faster. I'd like to know more about that, but that's just something that I've heard a couple of masters mention in passing when talking about the age of a pine tree. Anyway, so this ponderosa, I get absolute bonsai joy from this tree, and I bought these 10 at a time, and so this is my argument to they take too long, they take too much space, and they cost too much. The other side to this is there's negatives. There's negatives to this though. Smaller pots get too hot quicker, get too cold quicker, dry up inside quicker. So you might need a few little tricks up your sleeve to help you preserve your Shohin or your Mame bonsai. And those tricks are, as I said before, you take a tray and put some substrate in it. Right now, this one has a little bit of substrate in it, but it's not something that I worry about as much in the winter. In fact, I kind of lean off of this practice in the winter. I don't want these trays just filling up with water and having these trees sit here and soak in it. But these are all our little Mame trees. These are our small ones, and their little pots heat up faster and they get cold faster, and these trees will dry up faster and die faster if not watered. On a triple-digit day, we need to check these guys more than once a day to see how everything is going. So from spring on, you'll see at some point I'll add more substrate to this so that these little guys can send an escape route out of the bottom of their drain holes, and that little escape route will be their hedge against too much heat or too little water. If the pot dries out and they've got an escape route, and the moisture from that day's watering is still in this tray, even though the pot is dried out, that's their little hedge against a big hot universe. And this is just a quick little glance at our little mame beans. You've seen these trees. We folded these trees, and they're in themselves they're our pride of fleet of our little tiny pine collections. But this show is where we're more talking about our Shohin trees, and that would be this category, and to some extent this category I need to make sure I stay within that, like 6 inches or 5 inches, somewhere in there. But so you do have to worry more about them drying out. You do have to worry more about the sun heating up these pots to a point to where the roots are at a higher temperature than on the same day the roots would be in this pot, even though there's more surface area here for it to have exposure to the sun. There's also more mass as far as the soil in here, so this would take longer to get too hot and take longer to get too cold. Not so with these guys. They dry out quickly. So you have to be more on them, and that's what I was kind of saying about having a tray of substrate. You don't see me doing that a lot right now because we're still into pre-spring. But as we start rolling and our temperatures get closer and closer and closer to the 70s, I will be utilizing my drip trays more as substrate holders to allow for that little trick. That one little trick about putting substrate in a tray so that you can have that escape route. We just replanted that one. So we could have that escape route is one thing that absolutely was a game changer for me. My success rate with tiny little trees was not all that great until I started basically doing this. And this guy loves that. This is an underpotted literati, and every time I do any work to this, I have to go in there and just really shave down the roots that come out of that escape hole, because it tries to fill up this tray. So that's just an example of how much that can be beneficial to a tree, and all the way and to such an extent that I utilize it for this underpotted literati too. Just a quick little thing while we're talking about this. If you've ever wondered, whenever you've seen people repot their trees and how we go back through with our chopsticks and we start punching up that soil and we're trying to remove any little air pockets down in there, and you hear how those air pockets, if allowed, will damage your roots. If you've ever wondered how big a deal that is, or whether that's partly true, sort of true, totally true, always true, this is what that looks like. This is what that looks like. And I don't know how well it reads, but there's a break in that substrate right in there where the most of the root mass was, and I did not do a good job of punching down substrate to fill that cavity. And it took about a month to take that tree. The other one that we did in the colander is doing well. It's doing well. It's a good looking tree, and that's gonna show how well this works or doesn't work in the future for it. And we're gonna be doing a couple of more of these. But the problem wasn't that I planted that one in a terracotta pot. The problem is I didn't clear that obstruction right there, and that cavity right there, dead center and frame, that looks a little black where the plastic is wrinkled. There's not enough perlite in there, and those exposed roots to air is what killed the tree. So when we're punching down our soil and trying to get rid of all those air pockets, this is what it looks like if you don't do that. Little FYI. Otherwise, Everybody's looking good. This isn't going to be a real long show. I just want to tell you all that for me, especially for the times that we're in right now, it's a good time to remember who you are. And if you need a little help with something to just, help you see the brighter side of things, might I recommend bonsai. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need a lot of time. You don't need a lot of space. There is a bonsai for every situation. And I would say that my life is better to some degree having discovered the joys of bonsai. Not only do I get a certain peaceful frame of mind with this, but between it and the YouTube channel, I also get my artistic, creative self. Its needs are met through this in the YouTube channel. So I feel like I'm doing my part to maintain my art and to maintain my well-being and the well-being of those around me. And wherever you are, wherever you see our program, I just want you to know that I appreciate you and Frida appreciates you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.